Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the MPPIA Town Hall entitled From Local to Global in Motion Picture Production. My name is Peter Leach, and I'm the chair of the Motion Picture Production Industry Association of BC. I want to start by acknowledging that I'm very thankful to live, work, and thrive on the unceded territory of the Coast Salish people, including the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. As many of you joining us today know, the Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture and Sport, the Honourable Melanie Mark, officially proclaimed this week to be Creative Industries Week in BC on behalf of the Government of British Columbia. This is the 6th annual edition of Creative Industries Week, where it has become our tradition to gather with our industry and government partners and counterpart creative sectors under the umbrella of Creative BC to profile and celebrate the thousands of creators and contributors, more than 100,000 actually, who together make the creative economy thrive in this province. I would also like to thank Leslie Wooten and Amber Orchard for the great work they've done to bring these successful Creative Industry Week events together. This year, Creative Industries Week is being celebrated virtually, and it marks a time in our collective history when creativity has never been more important and our work together has never been more challenging. For us in the motion picture production industry, with a workforce of 70,000 and economic impact of $4 billion, last year's been a steep decline to the safe return to work. It took a lot of hours and massive effort on the part of the unions, guilds, producers, Creative BC, WorkSafe, and other industry partners. And it would not have happened without the leadership and guidelines from BC Health, which made British Columbia one of the industry's safest jurisdictions globally to produce motion pictures. The ongoing mobilization of production in BC continues to be driven by the qualities that are fundamental to our success at all times: adherence to health protocols, preparedness, agility, and above all, collaboration. Not everyone realizes just how widespread and intricate the local collaboration is and how important it is to our Canadian and global production partners. It's been a humbling year for all of us, and we recognize the mental toll this has taken on all our workers. With our panel today, we want to lift the curtain on some of the many unseen people who support our work. We are also joined by special guest Wendy Noss, President of the Motion Picture Association of Canada, representing our global production partners from Disney, Netflix, Paramount, Sony, Universal, and Warner Brothers. Wendy is going to speak with us a bit later in the hour, but first, I'd like to turn things over to our panel moderator, Catherine Pavoni. Catherine is the manager of Industry and Community Affairs at Provincial Film Commission at Creative BC. Her role at the Film Commission involves facilitating collaboration and consultation between industry and stakeholders across all levels of government and community to help build relationships that are supportive for those community stakeholders. The Industry and Community Affairs team aims to keep filming sustainable in this province and to maintain the success of the motion picture industry here in BC. Many thanks in advance to you, Catherine, and all of our panelists today. Now, over to you, Catherine.
Thank you so much, Peter, and welcome to all our guests out there. I'd like to acknowledge that I also live and work on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations, and I'm so grateful for that opportunity every day. It is my privilege to moderate this panel beside an exceptional group of people, some of whom I have been working with for some time and others who I have been fortunate to be recently introduced. One of the greatest parts of my job is being able to connect with so many different contributors to this industry because I truly get a full view of all the different behind the scenes efforts that take place. The motion picture industry in BC is unique in its approach to doing business in that collaboration is always paramount to our success. And that's been clearly demonstrated by the way industry banded together in the midst of this pandemic. Every production has many moving pieces. And as with any creative process, there are sometimes occasions where things go wrong. When things go sideways on a set, it becomes very apparent very quickly as time is measured in minutes and each crew member has a clear role to play. That being said, before the cameras even begin to roll, many of our panelists here today may have already solved any number of problems that the rest of us will never hear about. These efforts begin well before the crew arrive, and they sometimes continue well after they have wrapped. The intention of today's panel is to highlight some of these roles and that are so key to our continued ability to work through this pandemic, and also understand a bit about how the pandemic has affected our industry and some of the lessons we may have learned. BC's motion picture continues to be a global leader in film production, but we would not be where we are today without all of our local unsung heroes. On that note, I am pleased to share with you a message from the Motion Picture Community Initiative, which we hope evokes the spirit and theme of today's panel. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank our Ministry of Tourism, Arts, Culture, and Sport, especially the Honorable Melanie Mark for her participation in this message.
It wasn't so long ago that the whole world paused. Like everyone else, BC's film industry put down their tools and halted all production with no idea when they would return. After months of uncertainty, hours of screen time, and hundreds of meetings, BC's film and television industry got back to work, thanks to the determination, creativity, and teamwork of so many. Like our small business owners, opening doors to film crews and giving us unique and important backdrops to tell our stories. And our friends and neighborhood allies, who welcome filming in BC's amazing communities. Not to mention our local government partners, who work closely with our industry while balancing community needs and keeping safety a #1 priority. The same goes for our hardworking cast and crew members from prep to post, who follow the protocols that keep us healthy, screened, and sanitized so we can safely deliver the content we all crave. But we wouldn't be back to work without the real heroes, our frontline workers and public health officers who worked relentlessly to keep us safe.
7 and 8, take one, Mark.
Thank you for everything you do. And cut! That's a wrap, everyone! Great work, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Amber. I would now like to introduce our panelists for today, starting with Kathleen Gilbert, who's the Film Commissioner of Vancouver Island South. Kathleen? No?
Hi, I'm Kathleen Gilbert, Film Commissioner for Vancouver Island South Film and Media Commission. So, we're a full service film commission, and as such, we offer free production services from development right through to post-production, from script breakdown and location packages to identifying local crew, accommodations, and production services. And we help navigate the municipal and provincial permit requirements, and we assist with challenges whenever they arise. We've been working really hard the last year or two to foster infrastructure here in the capital region, developing infrastructure, including the supply chain, production, studio space, and post-production facilities. But, none of this, just like everyone else, we wouldn't have been able to do this amazing work here in the capital region without our partners in the province and our municipal partners and all of our amazing crew here in Victoria.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kathleen. And I'd like to also introduce Barb Roberts, who's the Film and Special Event Manager for the City of Abbotsford. Barb?
Hello, thank you, Catherine. Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to be part of this today. I'm Barb Roberts, Film and Events Manager here at the City of Abbotsford. Our team, we're community connectors. When film production comes to town, we connect them to the community associations, to our residents, and to our local businesses. And we really do strive to provide an enabling environment for both the film and event industry here in Abbotsford.
You certainly do an amazing job at that, Barb. Thank you. I'd also like to introduce Mary Jo Burns, who's a location manager and most recently was a unit health and safety manager. Mary Jo?
Hi, thank you, Catherine. Good afternoon, and thanks to MPIA for inviting me to be part of this panel today. And it's an honor to be speaking to you today from the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh Nations. Like Catherine said, I'm Mary Jo Behrens. I'm a location manager, have been for about 20 years in the industry. And I've spent the last 6 or 8 months working as a unit manager, health and safety supervisor on a couple of productions as we've returned to work. I'd like to take a moment to thank everyone industry-wide for the incredible work that we've all done to get our industry back on track and busier than ever, from crews, unions, suppliers, location owners, neighborhoods, municipal and regional film offices. We've seen unprecedented growth in our industry, all while adapting to the many, many health and safety protocols that we've put in place that have successfully kept us safe, and successfully is the key word there. I could talk forever and in great detail about all of the various health and safety protocols that we put in place, but in short, what I want to say is what we're doing is working. Film sets are safe places to be. Where there are rare positive cases or symptomatic people, those folks are quickly identified, the contact tracing steps in, and the symptomatic people are removed, and work can continue. There's very, very few instances of the virus spreading in the workplace. And for that, we've all done a remarkable job in keeping our workplaces safe and following the safety protocols, which I know are challenging. And I think that we've all demonstrated in these past few months that our industry's greatest strength is our adaptive, creative, and resilient people. And that's all I have to say.
I couldn't agree with you more, Mary Jo. Thank you. Very well said. Cam Gardner, the owner and lead film liaison of CEG Management and Angus Film. Cam?
Hello, I'm Cameron Gardner, lead film liaison, CEG and Angus Film. Our team facilitates, manages, and supervises film activity for BC Parks, Metro Vancouver, and we also work with 6 municipalities. We believe in film sustainability, managing and promoting sustainable best practices that respect the incredible locations that form the backbone of the BC film industry. Much of our work is focused on developing and nurturing positive relationships within our communities. Angus Film is proud to have been a member of MPIA since MPIA's inception. And so I just want to express and thank MPIA and Creative BC for the honor of being invited to speak on this panel today. And I'd also like to acknowledge that I am joining everyone today from the traditional unceded territories of the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish First Nations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cam. We also have with us Samir from the City of Richmond Film Office. He is the Film and Special Event Manager.
Thank you so much, Catherine, for the introduction, and a big thank you to MPIA for including me and inviting me to be a part of this panel. I'm really excited to be a part of this conversation. So as Catherine mentioned, my name is Samir Modwadia, and I'm the City of Richmond's Film and Major Events Liaison. And here at the City of Richmond Film Office, we actually have 3 key functions. Our first is we help facilitate and support productions that are looking to film in our municipality. So this can be through a variety of different things. If productions are looking to film at our civic locations, such as our parks, streets, and other city-owned facilities, but also arranging city services. That could look like booking RCMP officers, arranging no parking signage, and issuing a whole variety of permits. Our second function, which was highlighted earlier by Barb, involves working closely with the communities, be it residents, merchants, societies, and other industries that are impacted by filming activity. And our third function, which is somewhat new for us here in Richmond, is actually being the conduit for businesses that are looking to develop film studios in our municipality. So as you can imagine, all 3 of these functions have been heavily impacted by the pandemic. And especially as productions are looking at navigating their industry guidelines as well as safety plans, on our end internally, we've also been reevaluating our processes so that we can meet the needs of the industry. So this looks like this means working closely with productions and really thinking outside of the box, ensuring that the public is aware of all of the hard work that productions are putting into their safety plans, and ensuring that not only their crews, but the community is also feeling safe. And then the third piece is, as the demands for film studio spaces increase, reevaluating our processes and streamlining our back-end protocols so that those that are developing film studios are able to do so more easily. So this is kind of the high-level overview of our role as a municipal film office and how we've been adapting and evolving during this unique time.
Thank you so much, Samir. I really appreciate it. And thanks for being here today. I'd like to introduce to you Russell Pohl, who's the owner of Mr. Mom's World Catering and Events. Russell, over to you.
Thank you so much for introducing me. My name is Russell Pohl, or AKA Mr. Mom, and I'm here representing my very small business, but also with my partner, Bobby Malo. We operate and are the curators of the most recent venue used by the Superman and Lois film production. I'm here because I want to be a voice for small business, and I also want to be a voice for Joe Public and private citizen, if that be a name or a title. And I want to speak honestly about what misperceptions go on with the industry and how to navigate and how we pivoted as a small company, but hopefully to help others that are navigating the pandemic, and we can pivot to continue a strong presence, not only in business, but with the industry itself.
Fantastic. It's so nice to have you, Russell.
Thank you.
Last but not least, not least, Lisa Houle. My apologies.
That's
Who's
all
the
right.
manager of You're the manager of Industry and Labor Services at WorkSafe BC. Over to you, Lisa.
There's a Lisa and Lisa, so let's go.
Exactly.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for inviting me here. I'm Lisa Houle, a manager at WorkSafe BC in the Consultation and Education Department. I'm sure that many of you, in fact, most of you now, are aware of our role as the Occupational Health and Safety Regulator for the province of British Columbia. And we have a mandate and jurisdiction around all things workplace related. As an agency, we've been very involved and at times tasked by public health to assist really wherever possible in keeping workplaces like yours and workers safe from COVID infection. For me personally and my team, we worked hard early in the pandemic to develop the overarching industry protocol documents for motion picture and performing arts as well. And we did a lot of work really to try and support your industry, and meaning you folks really, to develop your own more detailed guidance and procedural documents. And that's what you did with the pandemic production guide. And that was just an incredible feat for sure. That was work just to get the industry started. We've also been involved in the rollout of the employer level supports, in particular the safety plan templates, and developing a number of other technical resources to help folks out. Things, topics around mask usage, posters, cleaning requirements, those kinds of things. So since operations and work has started again and stayed open for motion picture, thankfully, I'd say that we play more of an advisory role where needed. And we continue to work very closely with all industry partners, some of which are on the call here today. So it's been really important to me that we, my team and our colleagues at WorkSafe, make ourselves available to support the numerous associations and labor groups and employers in your industry in a healthy return to work, and really to keep the doors open as much as possible. Things continue to change over the year, and there's a lot of players here. So anything that we can do to support and encourage effective planning, really, because that's a key piece we've all learned about, is right up our alley. So thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thanks, Lisa. And you certainly have kept us on track, and we really appreciate all your ongoing support over the last year. And I guess I can't say just over the past year, because now it's been longer than a year, but let's just stick with a year for now. So I'd like to move into a bit of a panel discussion now. I had a question that I'd like to direct towards Kathleen. Obviously, as we are all aware, filming in the province of British Columbia is not just limited to the Lower Mainland, and our 8 regional film commissions play a really important role in hosting production across the province. Kathleen, can you speak to what your experience has been like on Vancouver Island South with regards to the return to production?
You know, we've been so fortunate here. It's been extremely busy. We had, as probably most of you have heard, we had a record-breaking year in 2020. We had 38 productions, resulting in approximately 55 million in direct spend, and that was more than double what we'd had the previous year. And certainly over the last 10 years, we've gone from about 6 million in direct spend up to 55 million. So it's been an amazing year and a half. We had almost 600 shoot days, resulting in over I think 33,000 crew work days and well over 15,000 hotel nights. And it doesn't look like it's going to stop soon. 2021 already this year, we've had more than a dozen shows, resulting in over 200 shoot days. So it's just amazing what's happening here. And I know all of the other regions are getting very busy as well. So the productions are spreading out, and that's so wonderful to see that all of BC is getting a piece of this $4 billion. We're certainly working really hard in our region to get even more of that. We have a couple of new studio projects that I'm sure most of you have heard about. One is, of course, with Camosun College, and they're continuing to work on those 3 sound stages with an auxiliary building. And they just announced, the province just announced on Saturday, $150,000 towards that project to do a market research or a market study on the a feasibility study on that project. So that's great. We also have an amazing project up with the Malahat Nations. They're looking at doing a huge project up there, 6 double sound stages, varying in size from 21,000 square feet to, I think, about 53,000 square feet, and also a huge water tank, a couple of workshops, and 6 production office spaces. So it's been really an amazing time, and it's an exciting time to be in film, and it's an exciting time to be a film commissioner, I think. I've been in the industry for 30 years now. 20 of that is a location manager in the locations department. And I've been also teaching. And I used to have to tell people, this is, I don't know, it's not a great time to get into the film industry, or you're going to have to go to Vancouver. Well, now I can tell anyone who's interested in working in this industry that now is the time. This is an amazing time to get into the industry and get that break. And, people are moving up more quickly. So it's just a very, very exciting time, I think, for the whole province, but especially for the capital region.
Amazing. That's outstanding. And it's so heartening to hear that people who are looking for jobs in the industry can continue to work out in the regions where they want to live and thrive. It's really outstanding. Along those lines of being incredibly busy, filming in Abbotsford, Barb, I know has been at record highs for you as well. I'd like to ask how the communities have sort of welcomed back film crews there throughout this past year.
Great question. Thank you for that. Yes, we've had a safe and successful restart to film production in our community. Our team here, we continuously reach out to our community associations, to our residents, and to our businesses, and regarding their film experience and their level of comfort. We are committed, our team here is committed to continuously, improve processes and build those relationships. So I do have some stories to share, because I recently did reach out again as some of the numbers were going up. And one is from a community association. There's a local hall that sees a lot of film production, and they expressed that filming has been a positive experience for the community and a much needed cash flow for their hall, which the rentals have become a standstill. So they're very thankful for the film production at their community association. Another was a resident that we had reached out at the beginning and pulse checks, throughout this past year. And again, thankful for the movie industry, film production, and very impressed with the COVID and the safety protocols that are in place, and will welcome anytime film production into their home. Last is our historic downtown, our business association, and really almost just a broad stroke on the businesses in the downtown area. Much as it's been a positive experience as well. Some much needed revenue to basically keep their doors open. And it was great to hear that. And the BIA recently did a survey in the businesses, and it was 76% back positive for the businesses. So that's some good results. Speaking of a story, really our Abbotsford story really speaks to the film production. And when they're in our community, they are continuously collaborating and consulting with the community associations, with our residents, with our businesses on the film experience to make it positive, to make it memorable. And the proof is in the permits, because we are having a record year. And I'm really a big kudos is to the film production and their managing of community relations and the safety protocols.
That's fantastic to hear. And you've heard it here first with Barb Roberts. The proof is in the permits, which will be an expression that we will use going forward at our municipal film office meetings. I love that. And it's super great to hear those positive stories. We really like when we're making a good impact as opposed to a stressful impact. And you spoke to the fact that people are impressed with all the protocols that are sort of put in place. And it's really clear to see when you show up to a set and everyone's masked up, etc. To get back up and running, obviously, we had to do a big pivot with industry to get all these safety protocols in place. I wonder, Mary Jo, if you could sort of speak to, after having worked pretty closely with these crews over the past year with a focus on health and safety, if there's any protocols or processes that are put in place that we should consider adopting permanently or keep in place post-pandemic, for lack of a better phrase.
Sure. Thanks, Catherine. First of all, I want to remind everyone that the pandemic is not over. We have to remain vigilant and stick with the safety protocols that we have that are working. But as we look towards everyone being vaccinated and a time where we can lower our vigilance, I think that we've all learned a lot about, the obvious things are, better hygiene. I think everyone should wash their hands on set all the time. And I think everyone, I hear a lot from crew members on set that they're like, yeah, we should keep this. We should always, plan this better. I think that Zoom meetings are here to stay. I think that it has been a real challenge not having in-person meetings and not having in-person production office time and those informal conversations that happen that allow a lot of things to run smoothly. But I think that Zoom meetings have also shown us that we have an opportunity for people to maybe work from home a little bit more and have a better work-life balance and to not have to drive around like maniacs all over the place. That we've embraced this new technology, and I think that's definitely here to stay. The big one I would like to talk about is that the pandemic forced us in production to be better at planning, to plan ahead, to fix it in prep. And I hope that we continue to embrace that idea. With a lot of the protocols like testing, we had to know what we were doing further in advance than we've normally had to do. And I think that having that advanced knowledge has helped departments like locations do a better job of communicating out to neighborhoods and stakeholders further in advance so that we can have a more sustainable relationship with communities. And one of the other things I want to touch on is some of our municipal film offices were very quick to work with location managers and come up with some solutions to help us go forward at the beginning of the return to work. And one of the big ones that we did was allowing for contactless polling. In the past, locations teams had to go door to door throughout neighborhoods to get approval from businesses and residents to maybe work later past the noise bylaw curfew or to do something exciting like have a big stunt. And our municipal film office partners allowed the change where we could send out letters to neighborhoods and allow people to respond via email. And I think that that's a really good policy that we should keep in place going forward, because it's less friction, a lot less annoying door knocking that I think people have had quite enough of that. And I think that COVID has just taught us all how adaptable and how resilient we are. And I would love to take some of that knowledge and apply it beyond COVID to things like sustainability and making our industry more inclusive and more compassionate. And I think that we've all learned that we old dogs can learn new tricks.
Amazing. Thanks, Mary Jo. And on that note about contactless polling, I know, Samir, that the city of Richmond had adopted that process in certain areas. Do you want to speak to that experience and how it's been received?
Yeah, definitely. So, as I mentioned earlier, we've reevaluated several of our processes, and I would say one of the silver linings of all of this has been an opportunity for us to really try different things and assess best practices, evaluate what's working, and as Mary Jo said, like what might stick when we're on the other side of this. And definitely contactless polling is one of those things that I think has been going really well with our municipality. But the added piece in that we found really beneficial is in the communication to the community. Productions are including information about the measures that they're taking to ensure safety, and are explaining to residents or merchants that this larger footprint or this extended timeline is really in place in correlation with our COVID safety plans, and that safety is top of mind in all departments in all regards, and that's been extremely beneficial to the community and the public, because when you see a letter that says we're going to be parking on 5 blocks of parking, it can raise some question marks. But when you understand that that's because in the current situation, we're needing a larger footprint to allow for more spacing, it helps people understand that, right? And so that's been extremely well received from the community. We've had some really big shoots happening in the last couple of weeks, and community members are coming to us saying, it's really great that you have these info signage up on site, or you have these letters that have told us what you're doing and the measures that productions are taking, and it's been really well received.
That's outstanding, Samir. And I know some of the people actually in this panel were part of a process that we went through where we designed a very high level info sheet that we could share with the general public that outlined some of our just general best practices. I know, Cam, that you worked with that sheet quite a bit when you've been out and about filming in parks, which of course are extremely popular right now with everyone needing to get outside and be active and have that green space available to them. What kind of systems have you seen productions put in place, or what kind of systems have you been adapting to make sure that we can continue to share these public parks with the public?
Yeah, parks are packed. I mean, it's no surprise to anyone. It's all over the news right now. Parks of all various types of parks, whether it's provincial, municipal, metro, they're all seeing record public use. And so it definitely has been a challenge, because at the same time, and certainly as the industry came back after the shutdown in the fall, it was unleashing a horde of filming that a lot wanted to go to parks. There was a concerted effort from a lot of productions to take the work outside where it was seen as safer, to get away from studio and to be outdoors. And so parks have also, while we've been seeing record public use, a lot of parks have also seen record film use. And it has created, a lot of the challenges that already existed just became a little bit hyper about, how we solve those. A lot of it regarding parking, shared access. The key has always been communication. And it just always is notification, communication. That's really, what has enabled us to be able to manage that in all of these parks. But from just being there on the ground on all these days and speaking to members of the public day in and day out, whether it's people visiting for the first time or whether it's the regulars at a park that see filming all the time, what's been really encouraging has been just how much public support the industry does currently have right now. And I find it really incredible. There's just this undercurrent of public support that I personally feel is at an all-time high. And I think that, the economy is very central in people's minds right now. And, the people always are constantly telling me how happy they are to see filming back working again. And it's, I think it's really amazing. And beyond that, and I know I'm mostly here to talk about parks, but, we also do busy business districts. And I'm seeing this community support from the business community, people like Russell, who's on this panel. And that kind of support has been amazing too. And with that has been this government level support from the amazing film coordinators like Samir and Barb that are on this panel, and all the way up to political support. I think right now we have this somewhat unprecedented level of support. And I think that a lot of that comes from the success, from the way that film has operated. And I really just think that it's very important to acknowledge that a key piece of that success is the incredible talent and energy of our locations department within the Directors Guild of Canada. They are the unsung heroes of this industry, people like Mary Jo on this panel. The incredible work that they do, from the location managers, the assistant location managers, all the way down to the production assistant that's saying hi to people and petting dogs in a park. This is the face of film. That is the communication, that is our relationships, and they just do an incredible job. And I see it, and I just think it's important for us all to really support them and acknowledge the incredible work that they do. And lastly, while we have this support, and I just want to reinforce the importance of really embracing it and maintaining the high standards that our professional film crew operate with, and honoring the trust that we have in this community, and remembering that we are all ambassadors for film, and that as a film community, we have responsibilities as citizens in this film community.
Thanks, Cam. I couldn't agree more. I think the industry stewardship piece is so important right now, and we really just need to continue to manage that really high level standard. Even though we might be a little bit tired and burnt out, I think the important thing is to remember that we're always visitors in these communities, and it's a privilege for sure. I wanted to ask a question of Russell. Russell, it's my understanding that you did quite a major pivot when the pandemic hit your business, and that you've been engaging with film production on a more regular basis. I was just hoping you could share sort of your story, what's been happening with you the last year.
Sure. Well, thank you again. I'm the grumpy old man of the company. I have an amazing partner who has actually liaisoned with the industry. But when we originally spoke, I told you of my original thought process. We had been hearing a lot of stuff going on in the media, negative stuff. So I kind of had that whole perception, like, what the heck's going on? And again, I jokingly said to you about, my vision was everyone was going to drive up in their Lamborghinis and their big cars. And of course, that didn't happen. And so, what I learned very quickly was that it was just a process, and that to be a part of that process was not only an honor, but it literally makes you pivot. It literally makes you think about, how is this affecting them by working? How is this affecting us by working? How is it affecting by the community? The beautiful part about where we are is we're in the farming country. The only one that is going to see us is a bunch of cows on either side of us. So our venue is really isolated in that sense. And so the movie, the production companies have lots of room kind of to do their thing. What I can tell you is that even via the negative rumors or media press, what we found from day one is such a respectfulness of the industry towards us. And 2 years ago, we had just moved into this venue. We spent a lot of our personal money renovating the inside, and the production company come along and wanted to take down my very expensive chandeliers. And so I was so emotionally involved with it, thinking, oh my God, like, what the heck's going on here? And my partner just kept saying, calm down, this is what they do. And what I also know is that every minute little detail that needed to happen, happened. and they fixed it and they made it better. And they would constantly ask us what needs to be done. The other beautiful part is Mr. Burns isn't here, but my partner, has worked with him and PAs that have guided us and told us, hey, this is how you need to work with this, or this is what you should do. The other one is we reached out to camera. We're very blessed to have lots of people in our lives that have worked in the industry, around the industry. So one of those people directed us to Cameron, and he was very helpful. I mean, amazingly helpful, and made us feel we got this. We can make this work. And so pivoting for us was just a matter of how do we introduce not only the movie industry, but how do we continue as a catering company and a venue separately that's going to complement everyone. Obviously, if the dollars are coming in from the movie industry or the film industry, obviously to keep alive, that's where we want to go. But we also need to constantly grow our own business, which is more organic, more local. And the movie or the production teams, when dealing with them, have been amazingly receptive to, no, I'm sorry, we can't book this week, or maybe we'll go down to 5 days, whatever that case was. I can't say enough about the misperception that I'm glad I'm done with.
I really appreciate that, Russell. And your perspective is so great because you're sort of fresh and new to the business, and you just have had such a recent experience, which I adore. And truly, it takes business owners like you with open minds and sort of willing to take the plunge, because it can be really scary, and they do take your chandeliers down, and sometimes they ding your door or whatever. But it's the important thing is to go with the flow, knowing that everyone in this business knows what they're up to and they know what to do, and they'll always leave it better than they came in. Yeah. So I'm so happy that you've had such a positive experience, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
I wanted to circle back with what Mary Jo had touched on with regards to building out the pandemic production guide, which happened back when industry paused. We like to call it back in March last year. Obviously, WorkSafe BC's guidance while the motion picture industry was building out the safe return to work was integral to our success. I wanted to know from Lisa, how would you compare the process that our industry went through with other industries, similar industries that you work with? And what have you been seeing or hearing in terms of the industry's adherence to the protocols that we set forth in those documents?
Yeah, so really good question. I work in the tourism, hospitality, and municipality industries as well. So big range there. And really a lot has changed over the course of this year plus, I guess we could call it. Not all industries were completely shut down like yours. Some are in fact more shut now than they were last summer. So it's kind of hard to draw direct comparisons. But what I can say is that, right from the beginning, it was apparent that there was a complexity to the motion picture industry and getting you folks up and running that was quite unique. You guys weren't working at all. So there was this, intense need to develop a plan from scratch. There was this international and local relationship piece that needed to be navigated. Your work sites were and are still all over the place and constantly changing. So there was, again, it was just really kind of complex. So the thought of how this is going to start up again was really tricky. So what stands out is that really, in order to make this work, there are so many integral groups, numerous like the labor associations and individual employers, health and safety associations like ActSafe and other stakeholder groups. And really, a lot of them are on both sides of the border that had important roles, and everybody had so much at stake. So, it was pretty phenomenal to see that these pieces came together to develop something like the production pandemic guide. I've been in this industry, or on the periphery of this industry, I'd say, for a few years, working with a lot of the stakeholders, and I really didn't know how this was going to go. But a lot of great folks stepped up and helped pull this together. And I would say that what you've developed is something to be super proud of. It was just an impressive amount of collaboration. And I can say that I'm not aware of a more thorough or comprehensive sector level plan than what I've seen in the production guide from you folks. There was a lot of hard work. I know there was a lot of hours, and you know, hats off to making that happen. In terms of what we're seeing out there, what we have been seeing, you know, we have been doing ongoing site inspections as per normal. We've also been helping motion picture employers with their safety plans as needed. And certainly any site specific tweaks or improvements that have been needed have been sort of dealt with, you know, as they come up. There have been a lot of safety plans done, I think, which reflects your industry's adherence in principle to the requirements and the steps to take in order to meet, you know, the requirements that all of you have put together for what it's going to take to get this moving. So the fact that there's been so many, you know, ActSafe has stepped up and really been reviewing a lot of those plans and providing feedback as well. So there's kind of this support network, it feels, that's kind of developed out of this, which is wonderful to see. There have been some orders, and there have been some accepted WorkSafe BC injured worker claims. But given the size and the expanse of your industry and compared to others, your performance is very, very good. And I would take that as, you know, indications that things are working. Certainly, compared to other industries, you are able to have closed work sites. You don't have the public coming in there. And so, you know, that management makes things a little bit more within your purview to look after. And you're taking that very seriously, which is great to see. And it's working. So I'd encourage you to keep up your focus and your attention on planning, and reach out to us as needed.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you for bringing up ActSafe. They were a fantastic resource throughout that process, and we're really grateful to them as partners as well. I did want to circle back on something that Mary Jo brought up, which is obviously the pandemic is not quite over yet. And it's important to highlight that although the industry keeps moving forward, there is an all-time high level of stress and anxiety that our crews and our contributors who are working so hard to keep us up and running are experiencing. So I just wondered, Mary Jo, could you speak to how we as an industry can and should continue to address any mental health concerns going forward?
Sure, that's a really great point, Catherine, and it's something that we all need to take very seriously. As a health and safety coordinator on the last couple of shows, I interacted with crew members, you know, from every department, and I did a lot of counseling. I did a lot of listening to people and their concerns and their fears and their frustrations, and people really need to be heard. And something we can all do to help is to remind people that through their guilds and their unions, there are tons of supports for mental health. And it's very easily accessible, and through most of the guilds and unions, it's part of your health and your health plan, not your health and safety plan. That's different. Anyway, it's something just as individual crew members and folks dealing with production crews is understanding that they're really at the end of their ropes, and we all need to be kind to each other. And I hope that's something that we can carry forward with as well.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%, Mary Jo. And also remembering that the people we deal with on a daily basis are also going through those high levels of stress and anxiety. You never know what's going on in somebody's life and who's in the hospital or any of those pieces. So I think, you know, just to circle back, the industry stewardship piece and continuing to follow Bonnie's orders and to be kind and calm and safe. And I think we're going to continue to be really successful as we go along. I just wanted to thank all of these panelists today from the bottom of my heart for participating in this. I think everyone had some really great things to say, and I super appreciate it. You are all the pieces of the puzzle that put it together and make it work, and we're really grateful today and every day for your participation in this industry. It's now my pleasure to introduce our special guest, Wendy Noss from MPPIA Canada. Over to you, Wendy.
Sorry, my dog has my new pandemic puppy has chosen this particular moment to show herself. So apologies for that. I'm Wendy Noss, the president of Motion Picture Association in Canada, as Peter said, representing, this is not going to stop, the global studios here in BC. Also a proud member of the BC film community as a member of the board of MPPIA, really working with the talented folks there, just throwing stuff to the dog at this point. It is really one of the greatest aspects of my job. So again, my job today in closing is really to say thank you to the folks at MPPIA, the Creative BC team, Catherine for the flawless performance today, but Marnie and Prem and really the whole team there who have navigated so many challenges over the last year and made every global studio production feel important and supported throughout the production process. All of the panelists today, individually, who have worked so hard, and for all of the other British Columbians they represent, the regional and municipal film commissioners, film liaisons, location managers, production assistants, incredible crew who are working so hard and never more so over the last year. Our government partners, local, provincial, and otherwise, all of the people who have to work to keep everyone on production safe, from WorkSafe BC to the COVID-19 health and safety officers who are really doing an incredible job. And then finally, the people like Russell, who are the local business community that, again, supports every single global production. So on that note, I wanted to share with you our new digital shareable, what we'll be previewing tonight on Twitter. So please like it and share. That highlights the many local businesses and people in British Columbia that are behind each global successful production. Thank you.